There's a specific blueprint that the top financial brands follow to blow up, and I've used it to get results like this, and this. Creators like Iman Ganji, Alex Hormozi, and Joel Kaplan all executed on it. But to be honest,
There's actually 3 frameworks within this blueprint that all generate millions.
and depending on your goals, one of the 3 will blow your brand up. I'm going to break down exactly how they started, structured their system, and blew up their businesses. Before these creators blew up their personal brands, they all had solidified businesses that were all doing 6 to 7 figures a month. For example, a personal brand I work with is Joel Kaplan. His business was doing $500,000 a month with $150,000 per month in ad spend. But after he blew up his brand, just a few months later, he spends $10,000 a month in ads while doing $750,000 in revenue, with 85% of his revenue coming from YouTube, which means his profit margins were higher and he took more home. But how did we do it, and where did we start? The content flywheel we used follows one of the 3 following frameworks. For you, the framework will depend on what your goals for your brand is. The first framework is to go broad, aiming for the most views and traffic, but still staying relative to a buying audience. One thing that all the frameworks have in common is that they all use a mass content distribution system, but more on that later. So an example of someone utilizing this framework would be someone like Iman Ganji or Alex Hormozi. Because of the bigger audience, it'll include more or less wealthy buyers, so this is perfect for low to mid-ticket offers. The huge potential in taking this route is the trust you can build in the brand, making it easier to test and launch new offers in the future. The huge drawback is that the majority of viewers won't be high-income earners or very wealthy people, but because of the high volume of traffic, the big ballers will also notice you too. This framework is called the viral method. The second framework is where we're aiming for specific viewers that are primed to buy and already intrigued in the industry. Once again, we'd use the mass content distribution system, but the content's target audience itself would narrow. 2 guys who are crushing this are Grayson Lupus with his mid-tier ticket coaching offer and Chandler Sane with his high-ticket real estate coaching offer. This is the ideal framework to sell high-ticket because of the nurturing type of content that is posted, which of course warms up the audience even more to make your closes super easy. Naturally, the biggest pro of this is a small, loyal, dedicated community that's pretty easy to sell to through a simple social funnel. However, due to the small audience nature, no one really knows who you are except for the smallest piece of the pie, the people deep down in the dungeons of your industry. Thus, doing volume is difficult. And of course, you'll need to run more ads than the other 2 frameworks. This second framework is the niche method. Now, in this final framework, we use a combination of both the viral and niche methods. The way this works is we aim for a broader audience to bring in new viewers, but yet still primarily uses language that targets the niche. Joel Kaplan, who I mentioned earlier, is a great example of this. We use broad concepts to address a bigger total addressable market, but still harness the power of nurturing content to warm up the audience. With this framework, you can sell low to high ticket offers. It just depends on how dedicated your audience is. A big plus to this over the niche framework is that you have more warm inbound leads and more trust. But because of the varying styles and content, it can be pretty difficult to grow fast, and you will need a decent amount of ads to heat up newer traffic. This final framework is called the combination method. So once you decide which framework is best for you, you can officially start the journey to blowing up your brand. For this video, I'm going to use the viral framework to walk you through exactly how this would work. If you haven't noticed, YouTube is the centerpiece of everything. Because sure, you can build a personal brand on Instagram or TikTok solely, but the impact won't be nearly as effective as building off of YouTube content. Within the content system I mentioned earlier, it all starts with 4 long-form YouTube videos. These have to be high-quality bangers that include a ton of value to your audience. If you don't have this, nothing else will work, especially in the viral method. If your videos are unique and viral worthy, you shouldn't need too much help from the short form side of things. But utilizing short form in a special way is actually the secret sauce to taking this thing into high gear. Before I explain how this works, let me ask you a question. Which would you trust more, State Farm Insurance or Tropics Local Insurance? Nearly every single time you take State Farm, but why exactly? The answer lies in who brands better and who is more well known. Granted, State Farm has a larger budget, but with organic content, everyone is on the same playing field. It's just a game of who can garner the most attention. And if you're on everyone's For You page on every single platform, people won't be able to forget you, and they will trust you more. Of course, you'll get haters, but you can't please everyone. So that means you're doing something right. And hey, it's free engagement that will only push the video farther. So this attention funnel is actually very simple. It consists of at least 1 short per day on all the major platforms, so YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, but on 3 or more accounts per platform. And if you follow the Tropic Viral Short formula, there should be plenty to blow up on every platform. There's more that goes into the strategy of the video themselves, but the key is where you drive all of this short form traffic to. And it's not where you think. Most people would drive traffic to their long-form content on their YouTube channel, but where we actually want to send the majority of the traffic to is the offer page. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the traffic will be brokies due to the wide audience. So the offer has to start with a low ask and end with a low to mid-ticket sell. That makes sense and all, but why not drive traffic to the YouTube channel? In this framework, getting all of your short-form viewers to your long-form main channel could actually ruin it. Instead, you want the viewer to see you so much they have the desire to search you up on YouTube and then find you and then convert. This is so much more powerful because of them taking those couple extra steps. But there is a cadence to this in the niche framework. Because everything is so targeted, you want them to go to your YouTube and consume your nurturing content. And if the subscriber to views ratio gets messed up, it's not really a big deal because high subscribers and views isn't really the goal. Just the right views, aka by a warmed up audience.
Real quick, if you're getting value from this and want all this done for you to generate more views and revenue for your personal brand, click the link in my description, fill out the form, and we'll see if we're a good fit. So now you know the frameworks, how to start, and what content system to use. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, and if you don't solve this last piece, the whole blueprint won't work. Because if your content sucks, the best overall strategy won't be able to fix that. So let me break down how to create the best content in your industry. Once again, I'll use the viral framework as an example, but do note that with each framework, the content and video strategy is slightly different. With long form content, it's essential that you come up with as many viral video ideas as possible before even starting to think about creating the video. Every month, we like to come up with 100 ideas and pick the best 4 to post that month. There's many filters to go through when picking ideas, but these are the key 3. Is it remarkable and unique? Is it interesting to the target avatar? And can it get at least 1 million views? If you pair that with some friends' opinions, you'll be able to filter the ideas down in no time. From those 4 banger ideas for the month, you need to package them in an appealing way to your target audience before you even start thinking about scripting them. What I like to do is come up with 10 to 20 title options that either follow a proven framework or are completely unique, and come up with 2 thumbnail concepts. One will be proven to work, and one will be completely new. This ensures that you have a safe play to fall back to if you really need it, but being unique is always best. And if the idea fits into the categories I mentioned earlier, that shouldn't be a problem at all. Next is the scripting. And this is where things can get a little bit tricky, because what you say or don't say will keep the viewer watching. Or not. The truth is, most people suck at retaining viewers. It's almost always because of the useless fluff or filler words they say. I could do a full video on scripting, but it all boils down to 3 main things. First, can you actually deliver on the title and thumbnail right away? And essentially, I mean, can you confirm the click? That the viewer is getting what they want? Because if not, the second the viewer realizes they aren't, you guessed it, they're gone. Second, is there constantly a reason for the viewer to stay? This means having an overarching reason for the viewer to watch to the end of the video, but also a reason to watch the next 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or even minute. You have to open curiosity loops, and once they're paid off, another loop has to be opened immediately. And finally, this is pretty overlooked, but you have to show personality. Whether it's in the way you speak, show humor, or just being awkward like I am a lot of times. Because if you're just like everyone else, no one's gonna remember you. Before we get to filming and editing, let me over-deliver on the scripting process. You might implement all kinds of retention hacks and get the viewer all the way to the end of the video, which is great, but what's not so great is how the viewer actually feels after watching the video. Do they feel like they just wasted their time watching your video? You want the viewer to feel satisfied in some form, because if they don't feel satisfied, they aren't going to watch more of your videos. And if they don't watch your content, you lose a potential lead and hurt your chances to blow up. So the filming process isn't that complicated at all. But literally 93% of people have no idea what they're doing. Like seriously, what even is this? You don't need the best equipment in the world, but you need to put in effort and money into making it the best video possible. Starting with a camera and lens that looks great, but the camera won't make up for your lighting mistakes. So learn how to properly light a scene. Just watch a YouTube video or 2. And finally, this is probably the most important step, having crisp and clear audio. Because viewers will tolerate a bad setup, but they won't listen if you sound terrible or have background noise. That brings us to the final pillar of making a video, the editing. Everyone these days just wants to copy someone else's style. In the financial space where I'm most familiar with, everyone and their wife's boyfriend is copying Imangaji. That's great, but you want to be the trendsetter. Be the guy who made a certain style popular. That all stems from creating a style and brand that is uniquely yours. For me, I've taken some of Iman's animations but used some of Biahez's humor and mixed in my own personal touch. If you implement all the sauce I just dropped, chances are you're gonna go places. And fast. No one talks about this blueprint, yet it's followed by many of the top creators. So now that you understand it, you have all the keys to success, except one, and that's how to consistently create viral content that appeals to the buying audience. There's a specific strategy behind the type of videos posted that make channels truly blow up, and a specific strategy actually making the videos. Learn exactly how to do so in this video right here, if it's out. Otherwise, YouTube recommends this video.